Donkey Kong, the lovable ape that has been a legend in gaming since he hit the scene in the 80s, bringing us games in the Donkey Kong Country series as well as many others like Jungle Beat, King of Swing, and Diddy Kong Racing. And who can forget the brilliant cast of characters he's brought on? His nephew sidekick Diddy, Diddy's girlfriend Dixie, who I named my puppy after, DK's grumpy old man Cranky, his totally tubular friend Funky, his girlfriend Candy, and even the main antagonist of the series, King K. Rool, is a fan favorite to many, like Biggest Smoke who kicks me and my friends' asses with K. Rool and Smash. Since then, he's been somewhat overshadowed by his former nemesis Mario, but that doesn't mean Donkey Kong still doesn't have a solid, supportive fan base. I wrote in the script, "Hey, you're probably recording this after E3, did any new Donkey Kong stuff come out?" Oh. Now, before we begin, I know that I said in the last Iceberg that I was not going to make any more, but to be honest, I've had a drought of ideas. I haven't really thought of anything in terms of content. So icebergs are a pretty good way to make a lengthy video. I already have the stuff provided to me, all I have to do is research the topics. And I like doing that anyway. Will this be the final iceberg video? Probably not. Will this channel become an iceberg channel? No, absolutely not. I do other content. And let's be honest, this can't be your first iceberg video. You more than likely already know what it is, you've seen all the bigger ones, but basic rundown for those that live under a rock. It's a chart where all the well-known stuff is up, and the deeper you go, it's either lesser-known stuff or just darker stuff, depending on what iceberg you're looking at. One final thing is that some of these entries were a bit hard for me to find, so I had many help from forum users, fan-made Wikipedias, and last but not least, Dr. Q and many other members of the Kong Island Discord server. I will leave many links in the description to the great people and websites that helped me out. So now, without further ado, let's hop in our vines and swing into it. Oh yeah, to any audio listeners out there, I'm just gonna warn you in advance that you should probably watch it because it's not gonna make much sense if you're just listening to it and not watching it, because on the bottom right corner I will put every topic that I'm talking about, and well, if you're listening to it you obviously can't see that, so yeah, just letting you know, because if you're just listening to it, it's gonna sound like I'm talking about one huge topic without really anything in between, so yeah, just letting you know. There's a very common theory claiming that Donkey Kong today was not the barrel-chucking ape from the arcade game, but instead it was Cranky Kong. In fact, this seems to go beyond theories, becoming an actual part of the DK lore. The story goes that Cranky Kong, or who I'll refer to as Donkey Kong Sr. for the sake of this explanation, is the one from the arcade, while Donkey Kong Jr. is his son, making the Donkey Kong that we know now Donkey Kong the Third. Where this gets a little messy is Mario vs. Donkey Kong, where we can clearly see modern Mario and Donkey Kong the Third. But I personally think Cranky Kong is obviously Donkey Kong Sr. and Jumpman is Mario's father and Pauline is Mario's mother. I know this is from game theory, shut up. And this whole game could be maybe just a staged joke between Mario and Donkey Kong the Third. You know, it could all just be fake. It wouldn't be the first time a Mario game was staged. This may also explain why Donkey Kong Jr. and Baby DK are separate characters, which makes sense. I don't know if Mario and DK the Third are the same age, but they might be pretty close, which explains why they knew each other as babies along with Peach and Wario. Man, Yoshi must feel so old knowing these people since they were babies. Then again, Yoshi is a species and not just this specific character, but this isn't a Yoshi iceberg, so I digress. Does this theory get a little complicated at times? Sure, but then again, this is Nintendo. They aren't really the best when it comes to linear storylines. I assume this most likely ties back to what we just talked about. It's a debate of whether or not Cranky is actually DK's father or grandfather. After what we just discussed, I personally think that Cranky is the grandfather, but to each their own. It's no surprise that Donkey Kong Jr. has been missing for quite some time. Now, while originally Donkey Kong Jr. was going to be Donkey Kong's sidekick in Donkey Kong Country, they instead decided to make it Diddy, since it wouldn't make sense having DK Jr. be both Cranky's son and Donkey Kong's son. This got a little complicated when both modern DK and Jr. appeared in Mario Tennis, but then again, we've constantly seen Mario characters in the same game with their baby selves. Maybe it's not supposed to make sense. At the end of the day, it just seems like Donkey Kong Jr. is just a retired character at this point, and maybe that's okay. He had an alright legacy, being the only playable Kong in the first Mario Kart. And plus, there are many fan-favorite Mario characters that have suffered DK Jr.'s fate. Koopa Kid, Geno, and Wart being notable examples. No matter what, we'll always remember you, DK Jr. This basically just explains how Donkey Kong got his name. Shigeru Miyamoto says that donkey means stubborn, and Kong is just the general Japanese term for an ape. So, stubborn ape. Can you believe I had to Google the word etymology? So this can be debated between certain people, but we know that Donkey Kong comes before Super Mario Bros. Or Mario Bros. Rather, leading to some people considering it a spin-off. But some people argue that Super Mario is just a whole other thing and instead a spin-off or sequel to Mario Bros. I mean, just because Jumpman or Mario is in both games doesn't really mean it's a spin-off of the Donkey Kong game. I mean, where's Donkey Kong? Where's Pauline? This might as well just be a whole new story. Now, I don't know if there's anything specific that I'm missing about Diddy's Kong Quest, or if it's just talking about the game, but yeah, Diddy's Kong Quest is just the sequel to Donkey Kong Country. Keep in mind, I am not the creator of this Iceberg, and I do not know who made it. If you made this and you're watching this, please feel free to clear anything up I missed. So we know that Wrinkly Kong has passed on, but she remains with her family as a ghost. Her cause of death hasn't been specified, but it's most likely believed to be old age. I believe this just refers to the fact that there are two versions of the DKC3 soundtrack, one for the SNES and one for the GBA. Donkey Kong Racing is the game that would have been the sequel to Diddy Kong Racing and was shown off at E3 2001. It has since been either cancelled or put on hold indefinitely, but since the announcement of the game was 20 years ago, I'll doubt we'll ever see this come to fruition. Especially after Microsoft buying Rareware, but we've seen Rare and Nintendo collaborate in recent days, so who knows if this game might get back on track with a new modern look. I'd certainly love to see it. I'll put these in the same category since they're just unused characters. Hat Kong, Redneck Kong, and Rambunctious were abandoned characters that were going to be in the games Diddy Kong Pilot and Donkey Kong Land, but never really made it into the final game. This tweet from DK Vine says, hashtag Donkey Kong Land is also infamous for characters who never made it into the game, but had their artwork given to the media before release. Specifically, this mysterious Kong called everything from Hat Kong to Commuter Kong by fans, and a rideable animal named Rambunctious. And now I'm sad that Rambunctious never came to the game. Just look at the little guy. Killer Instinct is a fighting game series developed by Rare. The first game was released in 1994, and so was Donkey Kong Country, so it's not surprising that they just probably decided to add a song that was meant for Killer Instinct into DKC. And if you listen to Funky's Fugue, it sounds a lot like any fighting game OST from the 90s. Even the sounds like it was definitely meant for a fighting game. In the DK rap, there's a scene where Chunky Kong is introduced, and while you may think this is a fun game for Christian kids out there, they say, none of that heck nonsense, we're big boys now. The Croctopus and Kerosene are bosses from DKC3 GBA and DKC2 GBA respectively. Why the GBA versions have different bosses is beyond me. And while we're speaking of things exclusive to the GBA, Pacifica is a water-themed world, again exclusive to the GBA version of DKC3. And yet another Game Boy exclusive, Neki Nutmare is the 32nd level that only appears in the Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Country. It is the 4th level of Chimp Caverns located between Misty Mine and Loopy Lights. Diddy Kong Pilot was a cancelled game from the GBA. The gameplay on your screen right now are prototypes from 2001 and 2003. There are also audio clips from the game on YouTube that I will play for you right now.
Wee! Woo! Well, hey! Donkey Kong!
Too bad. Check me out. Not bad.
Here I go. I'll catch up. I'm a winner. Good enough. Oh, shucks. Sorry. Gotcha. Be careful. Typical. Whee!
Coming through. Hey, you! I am the best. That's okay.
Too easy. No competition. This time I will try.
Get out of here! Come back!
I honestly don't see why this would be on a Donkey Kong Iceberg. It's probably just a joke entry, and I kind of feel bad for not putting it in my primate Iceberg. But it is true that gorilla PPs are fairly small compared to humans. They're typically about 3 to 6 centimeters or about an inch. So when some douchebag tries telling you they have a big old gorilla dick, be sure to pull up that fact for me. Back when Donkey Kong 64 came out for the Nintendo 64, it was a pretty big game in terms of memory and storage. So much so that there was a game-breaking glitch that required the expansion pack to fix. This was also the case for Conker's Bad Fur Day. Donkey Kong Country Competition is a rare game and it was made for Nintendo Power Fest in 1994. There are some variations made from the original to make it harder, consisting of only a few levels from the game, the goal being to score as many points as possible. The treehouse and banana cave at the start of the jungle have been disabled, and all of the animal tokens in the early levels have been replaced with banana bunches, making it impossible to reach the bonus round without the usage of a cheat device. The player is given 50 starting extra lives instead of the 5 in the original game. The game has a time limit of 5 minutes, which is displayed at the center of the screen. After the allotted time, the game just freezes. There are only 2,500 copies made, making it a prized item among collectors. Many Nintendo franchises have gotten shows back then, and Donkey Kong was no exception. What made it unique was the way it was made. 3D animation was quite new, and they used motion capture for the show. The show also spawned a bunch of memes you may know, such as Expandong and these two.
Shower you with coconut cream pies.
Yeah. A theory among the Donkey Kong community is why can Donkey Kong avoid hypnosis in this video? A tweet from Normal Boots theorizes that he is canonically too stupid to be hypnotized, but some repliers argue that he may be too smart. Verdant Mischief writes, no, one of Snake's codec calls says that he's pretty smart for his species, so maybe hypnosis would work more on those that are weak-minded. What I could find on this is something called the Water Skip from DKC3. The Water Skip is a special move exclusive to King Kong in Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie's Double Trouble and Donkey Kong in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It allows him to bounce on water to reach far and high places where the other Kongs cannot. K. Rool's wife has never really been seen in the actual games, but there has been mentions about her, such as in Donkey Kong Country 3, where you encounter him in the Castle Chaos and he says, "No! What have you done? My wife's gonna kill me!" I know, that was a very good K. Rool. Hire me for voice acting. The speedrunning community is never short on surprises. It's not too uncommon for speedrunners to find hidden things in games even years or decades after games have been released. One example is the hidden rainbow coin found 17 years after DK64's release. In Donkey Kong 64, by clipping through the sand in DK Isle, you are able to access a hidden room, and it's actually K. Rool's cockpit from one of the cutscenes in the game. There is a fan theory that suggests that Candy Kong may not be the most loyal Kong. The evidence that may prove this is when Funky says, "Tell Candy she can ride my wave anytime." Then again, Funky says things like this all the time to everyone, and most likely isn't meaning any sexual innuendos when he says it, especially in a children's game. And even if he meant it as a sexual innuendo, he probably just meant it as a joke. Then again, I don't really want to believe that Funky would be the kind of guy to do that to his friend. You may be aware of the undead Kremling known as Cackle. Well, before he became Cackle, he was Mr. X, a previously unused character, but he's been confirmed that they are in fact the same character. You're likely aware that Banjo and Conker first appeared in Diddy Kong Racing, before even having their own games. It's been confirmed that Diddy met the two on separate adventures, meaning they are in the same universe. There are also many references to the Donkey Kong franchise in both Banjo-Kazooie and Conker. And even though no Kongs make prominent appearances in either Banjo-Kazooie or Conker's Bad Fur Day, it doesn't mean they can't technically be a spin-off, although Rare being bought by Microsoft kinda throws a wrench in it. Evelyn Novakovic is a British video game music composer. She made a lot of music for Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 along with David Wise, who I'm surprised is not on the Iceberg, he's brilliant. Anyway, Evelyn has worked a lot with Rare, providing voice acting and sound effects for many different games made by them. A forum user found some unused sprites in Donkey Kong Country and encountered sprites Diddy and Dixie mourning. What they are mourning is unclear, but maybe it was meant for a game over scene of Donkey Kong dying. Maybe they are unused because of the dark themes, since of course this is a kid's game, And I'm kinda glad they didn't, because they were already making kids piss themselves with this game over screen. There's an unused song from Donkey Kong Land 2 named Boss Bossa Nova, and I gotta be honest with you, it's very groovy. I'm not sure why it was unused. Before Donkey Kong 64 was done and the coconut gun that fired in spurts was known as DK's signature weapon, they added realistic guns as a placeholder, a shotgun for Donkey Kong and 2 pistols for Diddy. But of course this did not fit in the happy-go-lucky world of Kong Island, so they obviously changed it. In Donkey Kong Country 2, there is an unused sound when you are defeated by K. Rool. It's most likely scrapped for being a bit too dark, but I don't really see why. It's not that different from the actual sound when you lose. If you've ever played Donkey Kong Country as a kid, you may remember the game over screen. Some people were unaffected, but this truly traumatized some kids, especially young kids in the 90s. Rare, like any other game developer, likes to add fun Easter eggs for their players to find. One example of this is the Rare Cow, which has appeared in a few games by Rare. I feared this would happen as we got deeper into the Iceberg, but I gotta be honest, I couldn't find anything clear on this. What I could find was a forum talking about this glitch from Donkey Kong Country Returns in Cranky Kong's shop. Perhaps related to the Cranky Kong shop glitch, in this one, for unknown reasons, Cranky Kong will be invisible. In this video, it appears the player is experiencing the Cranky Kong shop glitch when he fixes it by using the Wii Home button trick. Cranky Kong reappears. The video provided has since been privatized, so unfortunately we can't have full confirmation on this. If you know anything about this, please let me know in the comments. Another glitch we got here. If performed right, you can make DK into a sort of silver wireframe model. Guess it really makes him a silverback gorilla. Bad puns aside, this most likely just happens to the fact of how Donkey Kong's graphics are made. Stop and swap is an unused feature that, due to technical limitations, was never used. Basically, it would let you switch between cartridges of Rare games and unlock some stuff. These games included Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is similar to the Funky's Fugue entry. Basically, Rare reused the song in DK Land for their game Blast Core, and it's very easy to hear the similarities. La Planète de Donkey Kong is a French show starring Donkey Kong, and it is not the French version of the cartoon, but I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. The show was a mix of CGI and live action, with Donkey Kong performing skits with the actors on the show. The Virtual Boy was quite an infamous console. Well, to be fair, it didn't do all that bad, but it's definitely no Switch or Wii or GameCube or even Wii U. Before VR became really big with things like the Oculus and Google Cardboard, people had things like the Virtual Boy. It wasn't really the best in terms of appearance, and you'd have to have a weird posture to look through it. Anyway, Donkey Kong Country 2 was going to be one of the games for this console, but it never ended up happening. Before Rareware made Donkey Kong Country, they were working on a game called Johnny Blastoff and the Kremling Armada. It was a point-and-click game for the PC that was set in a pirate setting. It was conceived by Greg Mel's love for the pirate world and likely inspired the tropical setting of many Donkey Kong games, especially K. Rool's outfit. The game would eventually give life to the Kremling, so we still have a piece of this game that lives on through Donkey Kong Country. I couldn't find anything on this other than Skyscraper Caper from Donkey Kong Land. In Donkey Kong Jr. Math, a pink version of Donkey Kong Jr. appears as a second playable character. It's merely a palette swap, but some may theorize that this is Donkey Kong Jr.'s brother or something. Think of that what you will. The Barrel Cannon Trophy from Super Smash Bros. Melee has hidden text under it reading "Too late for me." It also appears in the official art for Donkey Kong Country on a crate in Cranky's cabin. What "too late for me" could mean is subject to theory, but some say it could simply be an inside reference between Rare developers. I don't really know what the significance of this is, but Fungi Forest is the 5th world from Donkey Kong 64. Again, I couldn't really find anything interesting about this, but I would appreciate if someone would let me know. Yet another one I didn't have much information on, but luckily the great folks at the Donkey Kong Island Discord server were able to help me out. Dr. Q says, I think it's either talking about the cache that you can jump on that contains the G letter, or the bonus level within another bonus level. So yeah, hopefully we got that one right. While we all know that King K. Rool's name is obviously a play on a word, or the word cruel, we know that the K doesn't really stand for anything. But Greg Males has said it was just a way of making him seem more important, that he'd added it to inflate his ego, joking that it could be something tonal like Kremling or something deliberately out of character like Keith. I was able to find early versions of Puffed Up throughout the years, but not any of Robo Kremling. Sorry. Super Donkey Kong Jungle Fantasy is a soundtrack of Super Donkey Kong, released in Japan in 1995. It includes the whole game's soundtrack, including 7 new arrangements. Winky's Walkway is the 6th level of Donkey Kong Country and is the shortest level in the game, until it got extended in the Game Boy Color version. This is just another unused song, but Rocket Run was a song in Donkey Kong Country 3, but since Donkey Kong Land 3 didn't have the rocket barrel used in Country when the song played, it was scrapped for that version. Back in the 64 days when Nintendo was starting to up their overall quality including sound design, instead of making their own sound effects from scratch, they would use sound libraries, examples including Bowser's laugh, which were sounds of wildcats, and also his laugh was a slowed down laughing sound effect, and the boos are actually a sped up version of that laugh. But in the intro of Diddy Kong Racing, Diddy is heard laughing on screen and off screen. And this is a very common stock sound effect. In fact, it's actually referred to as the Diddy laugh, kinda like the Wilhelm scream. Donkey Kong Country exposes a VHS tape sent to Nintendo Power subscribers that showcase behind the scenes of the game and interviewing the people that worked on it. Michael Kelball, who is the current president of Retro Studios, appears in this tape. Another entry that Kong Island Discord server was able to help me out with. I believe Vine Valley Smokestacks refers to the fact that in the pre-release versions of the DK Island map, the smokestacks in Krem Krok Industries are located behind the trees of the Vine Valley World map location in the final release. This is likely because the Krem Krok world was meant to be in a different location before they changed it, so they took the smokestacks and put them in a different spot. And yet another one I had help on, again thanks to the great people at the server and to Dr. Q for helping me with this one and a couple others. Basically, the song Forest Frenzy is quite different from its SNES version and Game Boy Color version. Uncle Kong is another unused character found in the Japanese guide to Donkey Kong Country 2. It is believed that he would have been Donkey Kong's brother and maybe Diddy Kong's father. But then again, Donkey Kong is not really the confirmed uncle of Diddy, so who knows. You may remember the soothing angelic feeling that Sticker Bush Symphony gives you, and the absolute nightmare that it is the actual level you go through while the song plays. But it seems that the song wasn't meant for such a stressful level. In fact, David Wise said it would have been used for a water or cloudy level, which would have made more sense. Before the famous crocodile villain made his way into the Donkey Kong series, it was going to be none other than Wario to take his place. The game's plot would have been that Mario had been turned to stone by Wario, and that he is going to take over Nintendo Land. A bird behind Wario had witnessed this and flew to notify Donkey Kong, but of course this changed later in development and Donkey Kong Country became what it is now. And I'm sure it wouldn't have it any other way. A huge Nintendo leak revealed a bunch of unused things that Nintendo forgot about, one of these being an abandoned game called Super Donkey. The main protagonist shares much similarity to Stanley the Bugman from Donkey Kong 3. After the success of Diddy Kong Racing, a sequel was in the works called Diddy Kong Racing Adventure. The game was planned to release on Xbox and GameCube but never ended up releasing. It would have picked up after the events of Diddy Kong Racing where WizPig teamed up with the Kremlings. A playable build of the game actually leaked in May of last year. You may know Dixie's baby cousin Kitty, who accompanied her in DKC3, but did you know that's not actually his real name? His real name is actually Dinky. Kitty is only a nickname. I was able to find a comment on the DK Vine forum that says Bamboo Gate is an event referenced in Donkey Kong Adventure, in which the island's Panda Finance Minister Ling Ling was forced out of office. It is this low mainly because I get the distinct impression no one played Donkey Kong Adventure. It is on the Iceberg at all because it's funny. A hidden Easter egg and a reference to the Metroid series was found in a Miss Abyss known as Metroid Secret. A forum user writes, so in Tropical Freeze's sound files for a Miss Abyss, there's a file called Metroid Secret. That sounds like a shrill cry of a small creature. Michael Duck Hunt Dog has confirmed that there is a Metroid-related Easter egg in that level that none of us have found so far. And he has also cheekily yabbed a Miiverse post I made about this a while back. I don't really have the tools/skills to hack the game myself, but has anyone else managed to find the secret? Let this thread be for the amazing hacking exploration of Miss Abyss, and to find the less undiscovered corner of this amazing game. There is a glitch in Donkey Kong Country 2 that recolors Diddy's boombox and Dixie's guitar into a golden version. Some guessed that it was going to be in the game but was never used, but in this specific instance you can still manage to get the golden instruments. This was found in a forum post by Dr. Q. It reads, "There are a couple places in Returns where an enemy appears to be surrounded in spark. The one players are most likely to encounter is Jelly Bob at the end of Stormy Shore, just past the final checkpoint, which can be easily struck by a nearby barrel. When defeated, it spawns a ring of coins with a balloon in the center. There's also a flaming tiki buzz in Treetop Bop, which can also be defeated if you skip out on Rambi and instead bring the DK barrel from after the checkpoint to it through a series of difficult jumps. This one spawns 3 lives. Those enemies are also unique because unlike the rest, they don't respawn. There may be more of them that I've never noticed. Returns is absolutely full of weird little details like this." Donkey Kong Country Barrel Maze, or Donkey Kong Barrel Maze, is a browser game developed by Skyworks Interact and published on their website candystand.com under Nintendo's endorsement. It requires Adobe Shockwave to run. The game is based on elements from Donkey Kong Country and has Donkey Kong in a quasi-starring role, with Diddy Kong and Cranky Kong only making cameo appearances on the title and loading screens. The player controls a barrel loaded with bananas and has to roll through it in a series of obstacles to reach DK at the end of every stage in the game. Sky Skipper is a 1981 arcade game by Nintendo. In the game, the player pilots a biplane and must save animals and a royal family from gorillas holding them captured. This is done by dropping bombs on the gorillas to knock them out and unlock the cages, then diving down towards the cages to pick up the freed characters before the gorillas lock the cages again. An Atari 2600 port was released in 1983. And as you can see, Donkey Kong is right on the cover. This game ended up not doing so well, but nonetheless, this game does have a place in the Donkey Kong world. The apparition part of this entry is an obvious joke referring to the famous Mario 64 Iceberg and the Wario apparition, but this is merely referring to the fact that Bayou Boogie from DKC2 is strikingly similar to In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. In fact, it's actually meant to be this way. David Wise, a composer for many Donkey Kong songs, said that he was trying to get the SNES to sound like the Roland CR78 that Phil Collins used for In the Air Tonight. Another topic I had help on, Dr. Q says Vulture Culture in the original DKC has a warp barrel that'll take you to the end of the level. However, at a certain amount of time after starting the level, it'll just disappear and won't reappear until you die and or restart the level. Also, you can only enter it playing as Donkey Kong. Playing as Diddy causes it not to appear strangely. Carbines are just robotic owl-looking enemies that appear in DKC3. This is a theory that Tiny Kong was clinically depressed during DK64. In every other game, Tiny is depicted as a teenager or young adult, but in 64, she looked like a little kid. And in the DK Rav, it says she can shrink in size to suit her mood, which can mean she felt defenseless and small. Or it could mean nothing and this is just a joke entry. Yeah, it's probably the latter. A cancelled Rare game called Dinosaur Planet was going to star Timber the Tiger from Diddy Kong Racing. Kevin Bayless, a former Rare employee, says, "After finishing work on Donkey Kong Racing in 1998, I started work on a project that was going to become a 3D adventure game based on the fantasy-style world, similar to that of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but in a prehistoric environment. The main character originally was going to be, believe it or not, Timber, the cute tiger from Diddy Kong Racing. Long story short, the entire game transformed from a prehistoric adventure starring a cute tiger into the space adventure Star Fox Adventure. Big Ape City is a world in Donkey Kong Land and is obviously meant to be a big city kind of environment. It's a play on New York City, and you know what else is a play on New York City? New Donk City. And while it's not confirmed whether or not they may be the same place, maybe New Donk City may pay homage to Big Ape City. Now, I'm pretty sure this refers to K. Rool's Final Smash in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where he fires up the Blast-O-Matic and fires right up at DK Island, exploding the whole head and everyone in it. Crocodile Core is the power source for Crocodile Isle in Donkey Kong Country 2, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's where the Kremlings come from. Perhaps they are genetically engineered soldiers created in a factory on Crocodile Isle. I assume that the reason the DS remake of Diddy Kong Racing is a separate adventure probably has to do with the exclusion of Rare-owned characters like Banjo and Conker. They are of course owned by Microsoft now and were then replaced with Tiny and Dixie Kong. In Tropical Freeze, K. Rool doesn't appear, but some people say that a rock formation in one of the Savannah levels looks like him. You can kind of make out a crocodile head with a lot of emphasis on the eye. Plus, a banana bunch floats above the head looking like a crown. In the main menu of returns, if you go to the settings, the small coral reef that the camera pans to looks like Rare's logo. Some see this as an homage by Rare to the previous company that worked on DKC. Donkey Kong 5: The Journey Over Space and Time is a bootleg game from the Game Boy Color. It is basically a clone of Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, and the music of this game was straight stolen from Pokemon Pinball. And the game is just the first 5 worlds of Super Mario Bros. With Donkey Kong instead of Mario. The Great Ape War is a fanfiction that depicted the war between the Kongs and the Kremlings, and while I'm not very familiar with the lore here, I assume the Kremlings did not wish to speak on the Crimean War, so they set up the Great Ape War to cover it up. Again, if you know more, please let me know. Banana Day 24 was a 6-page comic that was published in the June 1996 issue of Club Nintendo Germany. I don't know what this means by the full version, but I found 2 videos of the startup music, one where the last Donkey Kong gets cut off and one where it's fully heard. Again, it could be something else. Uton Island is where Donkey Kong comes from. You may notice that he is the only orangutan of the bunch, whereas every other Kong is a gorilla or a chimp, which makes sense that Lanky would come from Orangutan Island. The movie Food Fight is known for having many product placements. One of these is a little hidden reference to Donkey Kong, where in the grocery store there's a little display for Donkey Kong coconut crackers. Every year on February 13th, many Donkey Kong fans celebrate Cob-Cock Day. Cob-Cock is an enemy from Donkey Kong Jungle Beat that looks like a big chicken head on a plant-looking thing. A Japanese guide for Donkey Kong Jungle Beat describes DK as the King of Kings. And who else is described as the King of Kings? None other than the big man himself, Jesus Christ. Could it be that the famous primate that's been giving us joy through our Nintendo system for decades could be our Lord and Savior? Maybe even the second coming of Christ already happened. And what better way to end off our iceberg with a joke entry. It's tradition in many icebergs to have a every copy of blank is personalized entry. It of course refers to the well-known Mario 64 iceberg. Thank you all so much for watching. This was so much fun to research. Again, I'm not the most knowledgeable in Donkey Kong history, but it was a lot of fun to learn so much about the series that I've been a fan of for years. And while this not may be like other icebergs with big conspiracy theories, spooky Easter eggs, or big scandals, it was really just a lot of hidden rooms in the levels of the game, but hey, we got rambunctious. I of course would like to thank many of the forum users, fan-made Wikipedias, and the Kong Island Discord server for helping me out in some of the harder entries, especially Dr. Q. This video would not have been possible without any of them. Go give them some support by joining their server. I am also there and it's a fun time. Although if any of my real life friends consider joining, I know we do a little bit of tomfoolery, but don't do that there, they're cool people. Anyways, thanks for watching again, and please consider subscribing, it helps me out a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next video.